How we doing, my little movie maniacs out there?
We are here.
Is I, Joseph Stones.
Is Garrett Plunkett.
And our special guest today?
I'm Steve Ventura.
Now, Steve, who are you?
I am the Vice President and General Manager at WFXV, the local Fox affiliate, WTR, the local ABC affiliate.
That's amazing.
Steve, how the hell did you end up here?
Well, this guy approached me at a New Year's Eve party and said, hey, if you're not busy.
Hey, why don't you come down? Because we were originally going to have our intern Casey on, but Casey had some family issues he had to take care of. All our thoughts and prayers are out to you, Casey. Come on back when you got a chance, bud. And so, who are our sponsors this week, Garrett?
Same as always. You know, if you want coffee.
If you want coffee.
If you want food.
Go to Dippin'.
They're your place to go. All right. If you want ink. If you want piercings.
Where do I go?
You got to go see Josh at Rockin' Horse.
Rockin' Horse.
You got to go.
Ooh.
He's the man.
And last but not least, our Fred.
Oh,
Fred, I said. Our friend Fred.
He is our, but you know what? He is our Fred.
He's our Fred.
Okay. But yeah, if you need T-shirts, if you need hats, hoodies, gear for
our
your
show,
sports teams, our gear.
Either of our
we have
shows,
our own store
for the D. If you want stuff for the D,
yeah. Go hit up Seasonal Sports. All right, they're the best place ever. Quality work, quality product.
And I still think they're doing some like our throwback stuff, like the old D Squad stuff. You can ask for that. You know, even though D Squad's no more, and putting that chapter.
Yeah, they'll hook
behind
you
us.
up. Ange is already on. What's up, Ange? How's it going? Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.
And so today,
taking a little break from the norm.
Yeah, a little break from the norm. This is the first time we've had anything from different genres going up against each other.
Right, and it's more than one movie per thing because we're doing Trilogies.
All right, and it says Trilogies Part 1.
Because we know there's about 1,000 of these.
I've already made 2 lists. Ironically, I don't have a third. I don't have a third Trilogies part, but I do. So this is Trilogies Part 1.
And as we come across, and yes, we know that some of these have more than one trilogy, or have more than 3 to it. We'll take like Aliens for example. That's Alien 1, 2, and 3. Like the original part of it. Same as Die Hard. It's that first batch that made it a trilogy, that made it was sold as a trilogy, the ones that people talk about.
Yeah. And before we even start, I got to say that I feel insanely underdressed by Steve in his awesome, nice suit. And I feel like, a bum over here.
Well, he's just adding class to the podcast.
Yeah.
Trust me, if I wasn't working today, it'd be completely different.
Yeah, he wouldn't be wearing the tie. He just.
But all right, so
let's start it off.
First one, we're gonna start with Aliens 1, 2, and 3.
Okay.
Against the first 3 Turtles, the live action ones.
Oof.
All right. Now, surprisingly enough for me, this is actually easy.
So, I love both of these. Okay, and especially the way the first part of the Aliens, the trilogy.
Right.
You had the first one that was straight. It was practically a horror movie.
Right.
You had the damsel in distress. You had the monster, and Ripley barely survived. Whereas the second one, in my opinion, is one of the greatest action movies we talked about before.
Oh, yeah. I could talk about Aliens all day, especially the director's cut.
And then the third was such even different, and it actually added the finality to the film series. Like, they didn't have to do more after.
Right.
And it definitely holds a place here, but with the original Ninja Turtles, the first 3, actually the first movie, I think it was 5.
Yeah.
And, I might have actually told this on here before, but my father, he basically tricked me. It was like, oh, we're going to go grocery shopping. I was like, Dad, I don't want to go. He's like, come on, I'll buy you the Ninja Turtles cereal, because I was all about the Ninja Turtles at the time. So we drive down to Little Falls, and he's like, we're going to see the movie. And we're in line, and the guy's like, I only got tickets for 1 seat left. And my dad goes, listen, I'll put him on my lap. I'll pay for 2 tickets. And we sat in the very back corner, and I sat in my dad's lap, and I watched this craziness in my eyes, because how could the turtles be real? They looked real.
Yeah.
The way Jim Henson's Creature Studio did these Ninja Turtles was amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Still to this day, that holds up. Like
to this day, that movie is one of my top 50 favorite movies. Well, so is Aliens, the extended cut specifically.
I gotta say, Secret of the Ooze and then Turtles in Time, they definitely were not as good as the first one.
No,
but as a trilogy, it flows.
Yeah,
I have more love for the Turtles than I do for the Aliens. So my vote is for the Turtles.
I'm gonna go with the Turtles as well.
I was actually gonna go Aliens only because because Secret of the older I got, the more I actually disliked Secret of the Ooze.
Right.
And like Turtles in Time, I was like, and I feel like any three of the Alien movies are just watchable at any time.
Why Turtles for you, Steve?
Because of what you said, just the accomplishment of what they did with it at that time.
Right.
I mean, today it'd be a completely different ballgame, but back then that was a real accomplishment.
But like even rewatching those movies, those practical special effects hold up.
They do.
Yeah.
They truly do.
Yeah.
So
the only exception is the one when the scene where Raph wakes up, which I didn't notice until the internet pointed it out for me. When he laughs and you can see the actor inside of it. Now I was like, oh God, it kind of like ruined my life, but but then I got over it.
so now
all right. So now we're gonna move on to Mad Max against the Oceans.
So this is Road Warrior.
Yeah, this is
Mad Max and Thunderdome.
Yeah, Mad Max, the Road Warrior, and then Beyond Thunderdome.
Okay.
So here's the thing. I like Road Warrior alone better than all three of the Oceans combined. Okay?
Okay. Go ahead.
But looking at the trilogy of those three, the three can't hold up, in my opinion, to Oceans because you're standing on the Road Warrior alone, which if we're looking at trilogy versus trilogy, we have to consider all three movies. And I'm sorry, but like Mad Max is kind of boring. I mean, it's some of the stuff that happens. It takes a while to get to, and it's kind of boring. And then, like, I don't know what it is about Beyond Thunderdome. It just missed me. But I can watch Road Warrior all the time.
See, I 100% disagree with you. Like, all three of those movies, even though Road Warrior is by far the best of those,
far and away,
those movies, like that I didn't know what post-apocalyptic future was until I saw those and then rewatched them when I was older because I had a better grasp of what was going on. Right. Those movies are the farthest thing from boring to me. Like, especially Thunderdome, where it's over the top. Like, it's basically post-apocalyptic pageantry, and it's amazing.
The problem could be is that
you hate Tina Turner.
No,
that's what it is. You hate Tina Turner.
Who hates Tina Turner?
You just said it.
Nobody. Nobody. Okay, first off, nobody hates Tina Turner.
I'm going to have to roll you down a river right now.
Maybe Ike, but that's it.
Wow, this just took a turn for the worse.
I'm sorry.
But with the Oceans movie, that's all they are is boring.
No,
really?
They're fun.
Come on.
Dude,
they're fun. They're enjoyable.
Like, the first one, I can't lie, I do enjoy. But, like, the sequels were basically a reason for them to get paid and hang out. Like, it just, the first one.
Yeah, but wouldn't you do that? I mean, come on.
I'm not saying I wouldn't do that, but we're talking about trilogies here.
Right.
Like, I feel like the Mad Max trilogy they're better movies, in my opinion. I'm going Mad Max all the way.
Yeah. I think my problem with both of those, or with any of the Mad Max stuff, could also be that I saw Road Warrior first.
So you saw the middle.
Wait, you saw them out of order?
Well, yeah, I was born in '83. So
I was born in '85, and I saw them in order.
And I didn't see him in order. So like,
TBS
Road
used to
Warrior
play them
was
in
the one
order.
that was like still out and bigger, and then I saw Beyond Thunderdome, and then I saw Mad Max. You know what I mean? So like, I saw him completely out of order, and that could have ruined everything for me, possibly. But as a trilogy.
So you're going Oceans?
I would as a trilogy only as a trilogy. Okay.
All right. Steven, it's on you.
I'm going Oceans.
Ooh,
all right.
Care to elaborate why?
Listen, I enjoyed all of them. I get what you're saying about the last two.
Because he dresses like him. That's what it is. That's what it is. I dress more like Mad Max. He dresses more like Danny Ocean.
Listen, I found them enjoyable.
Yeah. No, I do. I enjoy all of them. So, yeah.
Well, good effort there, Joe. Just like
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, as you'll notice as it goes on, I just start doing letters.
Yeah,
like
he just sometimes it's just
I just
scribbles.
give up. I give up.
So now we're gonna take it down to Taken.
So I want to talk about Taken before I vote against it because I've talked about Ghostbusters before, and I'll talk about them again. The Taken movies, the first one, like definitely came out of nowhere when it came out.
Yeah. I don't think anyone was expecting.
Nobody expected Liam Neeson to
kill everyone.
To the latter part of his career become a badass action hero. Okay?
Taken came out, right? And now going full Liam Neeson is a term.
Right, absolutely.
Okay. It's a term for finding somebody and killing them.
Right. And before that it was, the guy that died in the first Star Wars.
Yeah, he was great.
Right, but
everyone loved him, but now he's.
And then the second one was basically a remake of the first one with a different locale. And the third one, I actually enjoy more than the second one, just because the plot's different and he's got the whole man on the run thing.
Right.
And what the Taken movies did for that genre, where you prove that you could take somebody who's not like John McClane or Sylvester Stallone or Arnold that have been doing it forever and keep them going. You're taking a guy who wasn't necessarily known as an action hero, putting him in that role, and he absolutely crushes it.
Right.
Go ahead.
Agreed.
But with Ghostbusters.
Right.
I have the symbol on my arm.
I mean, I'm glad we're doing it now so that we can include Afterlife. I know Afterlife just came out on digital, and maybe a lot of people haven't seen a whole lot of it, so I don't want to get into the things that any type of spoiler, but as great as the Taken movies are,
they're not Ghostbusters.
One, they're not Ghostbusters, and two, none of the Taken movies made me cry in public.
Correct.
So
correct. And
and there's Steve. Afterlife, I cried in the theater.
Man, I did too.
I wept,
Ghostbusters
tears.
became like an iconic thing. I remember back when that first came out, then you'd be at parties and stuff, and they would play the theme song, and the whole place would just rock out and go nuts. There's not too many movies that transcend into pop culture that way.
Correct.
Right. And especially at that time. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And they're generational.
Yeah, a sci-fi movie. You know what I mean? Like a sci-fi / comedy.
But look at the cast.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think what works so well, and I know I've said this before, what works so well for Ghostbusters, it was written as a serious sci-fi fantasy movie. Right. The reason it's comedic is because Harold Ramis, Dan Aykroyd,
it's because
Bill
the guys who wrote, so a lot of times when it'll come up on something and it's in the category you see it's comedy. I'm like, no, it's a sci-fi movie that's funny. You know what I mean? It's a sci-fi
comedic elements to it
first.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Come on.
And it has such iconic lines to it, the moments and everything. Are you a god?
Yeah.
It just it transcends. My kids, who my youngest is 6, appreciates Ghostbusters the way I did when I was 6 years old. The first movie came out the year before I was born.
Right.
And even when I was 4 and the second one came out, I'd been watching the animated series, and I still make my kids go back and watch the animated series.
Is my favorite animated series of all time.
But
it is.
Ask anybody any age today, what's the answer to who you're going to call?
Right.
And they know it, and they don't even know why they know it. And so when the movie came out,
that's perfect right there. Yep.
I was, almost an adult at that point, and it was everywhere. They played that song in clubs. It was crazy, and it was from a comedy sci-fi movie.
Now, my real question for you, I want to know if you feel the same way I feel about this. Sigourney Weaver, possessed in the red suit outfit. How did you feel about that?
That was the thing.
Oh, okay. I want to make sure it just wasn't me. Garrett, how do you feel about it?
I plead the fifth.
Why is your wife's watching? Isn't
I
she?
just plead the fifth.
Yeah. Kate, go get one. So I'm guessing Ghostbusters goes on?
Yeah, it's my vote.
Okay.
It's Ghostbusters.
Absolutely.
All right.
And
So
it's almost not fair to pair something to compete with that.
Right.
Yeah.
You
yeah,
know?
there's a lot there. I feel like
That happens a lot.
It's it's unfortunate.
Like, I'm looking at the next two going up against Karate Kid, and I'm trying to do the math on
Yeah,
that.
sometimes it's like you'll sit here and you'll be arguing it, and we're like, oh, come on, and then it's like, does it really matter? Because look what's going to hit in the second round. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's going to hit everything. So now we have Bad Boys versus Transporter. Now the Bad Boys movies all came out, in completely different decades.
Yeah, one was in the 90s, one was 2003, and one came out last year.
Yeah, so I think 3 did very well at holding up. I enjoyed it. The Transporters, I liked 1 and 3, and I thought 2 was like an attempt at like
recreating
over
1?
the top. No, it was like it tried. It seemed like it was go like too over the top. Like we had the bomb in the bottom of his car, and he like drove like up a thing and went upside down, and like used the crane ball to like. The crane hook to like knock it off, and then he landed the car. Like I was like, come on. So the first one wasn't like that at all. The first one was the more grounded in reality type of action, than the other ones. Yeah.
So I feel like the Transporter, it suffers from what happens quite a bit. Is Hollywood gets an action star who they're hot on at the moment, which was Jason Statham. And you get the overindulgence of Jason Statham because you had Cranked, and one of my favorite like early Jason Statham movies is the one with Jet Li. That's the first movie I remember him being.
That's the first thing it's like that and Snatch.
Yes.
So
they got.
We could have a whole show about.
They got hot. So you had
so good.
So you had this oversaturation of Jason Statham. So that's why they cranked these movies out because I don't want to say there's more than 5 years between 1 and 3. I feel like it was almost every year and a half they came out. The first one I enjoyed. These movies really didn't do much for me. Okay, he's a driver and he's a bodyguard. All right, and his people he's working for, something's happening to him. Like they're great action movies if you want to like put it on in the background and do some work or something or sit on your phone. Whereas Bad Boys, they do everything for me. All 3 of them in different ways. Because like if you think about it too, you have them in the beginning of their career. Where like they're not rookies, but they're kind of new at it. Then you have them while they're at almost their prime, and then you have them on their way out.
Yeah.
And their relationship, Will Smith and Martin Lawrence, are so good together. And I feel like these movies, the first one to the second one's far better. The second one, I think, is probably the best.
Oh, really?
But I feel like the third one stays right there with the second one.
I still think the first one's the best one.
The second one, is amazing. Like it sets up the whole Bad Boys for Life thing. We ride together, we die together. I mean, Dan Marino's in Bad Boys too. Yeah. Like, come on. Yeah. Like it's a movie with Dan Marino in it. Like,
let me know how it drives. Oh, we're gonna mess this car up.
Right.
It's
the Bad Boys give you the action, they give you the drama, they give you the comedy. Yeah. Where Transporter, I don't feel like those movies do that at all.
Oh, the scene where with the daughter's date. Oh my God!
And the fact that in 3,
he didn't know that they were going to do that.
Oh, I'm sure that was all improv.
Yeah, they set him up.
But I love the fact they got that kid back for Bad Boys 3 as his daughter's husband.
Yeah,
like
he was too scared to break up with her. Let's be honest. He was stuck. Steve, how do you feel about these?
I have one question for you. You thought the second Transporter was over the top. What made you go back and watch the third?
That I love Jason Statham.
Okay, fair enough. But it's just curious because
it was over the top and it was just like a little ridiculous. Like I think that was still the one like the girl's like fighting him and she's like holding on to like the curtains, and she's using the curtains to like flip. It was too over the top. And then the third one went back to the more grounded stuff. So
see, and he's kind of like me too, where I'm a completionist. If I start something, I have to finish watching them to see how it goes.
Hollywood's counting on it.
Yeah.
Do you want to know how much of a completionist I am? I own Never Ending Story 3 on DVD. That's how much of a completionist I am, and I hate that movie. Okay? And I hadn't seen it. The thing is it was so hard to find it. I hadn't even seen it. I ordered it, watched it, and I was like,
why did I do
this? I can't believe I ordered this. It's terrible. Because I love the first one. I even love the second one. But
second one's awesome.
But that's how much of a completionist I am. So yeah, all right.
I still can't get past whoever wins this round's going up against Karate Kid. That's like
I know. I know. It feels
and just the fact that I just watched all of Cobra Kai season 4.
Oh man,
Karate Kid's very, very fresh and
full. Yes. Have you been watching Cobra Kai?
I have not.
Okay, so I'm not trying to give away, but I was like 3/4 of the way through season 4 of Cobra Kai, and I was like, I don't know, season 3 is still kind of stronger. I think I liked it more. And then it ended, and I was like, what? Season 4, it's literally gotten better every single season.
I've had Maria was mad at me because she's like, what are you watching? I'm like, Cobra Kai. She's like, ugh. And I'm like, she's like, let's watch something else.
Like, no.
So then on my birthday, I was like, I wake up and I'm like, I turn it on and she's like, you're lucky it's your birthday. And I'm like, I am lucky because I need to watch these last 2 episodes. Like,
yeah. And they were so good. Oh, it was so good.
Anyway, so we digress.
It's
Bad Boys for me.
Then it doesn't matter what my vote is, right?
I'm just curious.
I'm going to go with Bad Boys as well.
Yeah. All right. So now we're going to take it up over here to the other side. We're already going to...
Blade Trilogy versus Maze Runner.
Blade. The 3 blades. Okay.
And that's going up against Star Wars?
Yeah.
Well, the winner of this will go against Star
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Sometimes it seems unfair, but we got to give everything its shake. We got.
No, I'm with you. I'm just like, wow, that's going to be a layup next time around.
Yeah. So,
it's Blade. I like the Maze Runner movies. They're actually very good adaptations of the books. I've read all 3 of the books. They're good adaptations of it. But you have 3 movies, whether or not you like all 3 of them or not. I enjoy them all. But it's Wesley Snipes, half a vampire, doing karate, killing supernatural creatures. I mean, and it really is the reason why we have the comic book renaissance that we have right now.
Right.
Like
Steve, how do you feel about these?
You know what? I'm not really a fan of either one of them. That's why I'm kind of be quiet on this side.
Okay. So here's the thing, right? I hate Blade Trinity.
I know you do. We've discussed this. Which I think is crazy because it's Ryan Reynolds, Triple H, Patton Oswalt,
that's
Jessica Biel.
Because that's how bad the script is.
No, it's how bad they had to cut around Wesley Snipes being a diva around.
Yeah, that's true.
Essentially, that's what it boils down.
That's also true. But again, we've talked about it. Had that been like the 4th Blade movie that was then setting up more offshoots, like if it had been called Blade and the Night Stalkers, with like everyone in the world knew that here's them. Here's the Night Stalkers, then they're going to have their own movie after this. And it's like, I think it would have done much better. But you were looking for a little more like final touch on it. And I don't think anything was just executed very well throughout it. As to where the Maze Runners are a more complete trilogy because of, they're a book adaptation.
You have a crush on Dylan O'Brien, don't you?
So a little bit. I mean, but who doesn't? Right, come on.
He's great at Styles.
Yeah, he's amazing as Styles.
Yeah.
I mean, the Styles was literally my favorite character in Teen Wolf. I mean, but again, how was he not anyone's favorite character? He was the best. So
he'd be a good variant Peter Parker.
He would be.
Anyways,
he'd be amazing.
Who are you going with? You're going Maze Runner, obviously.
For these, I feel like I have to go because again, we're looking at it as a trilogy. If it was just like, hey, any one of the Maze Runners up against the Blade, I'd be like, ooh. I love the first Maze Runner.
I'm gonna go with Maze.
All right, Maze Runner it is.
So
I'm also gonna go with Maze doesn't advance one round after this.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a safe bet.
All right, Rush Hour versus Men in Black.
Rush Hour versus Men in Black. Steve, you want to take this up?
You know what?
First?
I enjoyed Men in Black. I thought it was like absurdly serious the way that it was written because they acted so serious, but
Especially
the whole
Tommy Lee
subject,
Jones.
the whole subject matter was crazy, and it almost leaves you with. For a split second, you asked yourself, could this actually be a real thing?
Right.
Like, could this be real? The guy at the newsstand being an alien, and then
because you've definitely seen people where you're like, is that dude? What's up? with that?
Sometimes I look at Garrett and I wonder if there's an alien side operating that.
oh man, it does answer the question when you interact with people. Those like, what's wrong with that guy?
Oh, absolutely.
But no, I thought Men in Black was awesome. I thought that they did a great job carrying it through, and I found them completely entertaining.
Yeah, I had liked the first one a little bit more than the second one. And the third one came out, and I was like, oh, man, he's going to go back in time. Blah, blah, blah. And you watch the whole movie, and I was like, holy crap.
The third one's great.
The third one's unbelievable. It's so good. It makes you, like, it tugs at your heartstrings.
And the way it ties everything in a nice,
like,
neat little bow.
Josh Brolin somehow does, like, the best Tommy Lee impression,
yes,
ever.
It's crazy. Like, how,
is perfect.
Yes.
That, like, for a while, I thought, I'm like, did Tommy Lee Jones, like, dub over
Well,
his
it makes
voice?
you wonder.
But he doesn't.
Makes you wonder if Josh Brolin really is a young Tommy Lee Jones that gone, into the future. Like,
yeah. So, I mean, the Rush Hours, they're good, they're funny.
But here's the thing with Rush Hour. Like, it's the same like with the Shanghai movies. They're pretty much the same exact movie, just swapping Owen Wilson for Chris Tucker. Like, they're very, very stereotypical, very cookie cutter movies.
Yeah,
Like, you got fish out of water with somebody else, and it just.
I'm gonna be honest. Like, I don't remember the plot of Rush Hour 3. You know what I'm saying? And
I couldn't even tell you where it takes place.
Like, that's what
I know
I'm saying.
the first one's
remember.
in L.A., the second one's in China. I don't know where the third one is.
Exactly.
Actually, it's in Paris.
Yeah,
because I remember the whole Eiffel Tower scene.
Okay, yeah. Oh, see, now that you say that, now it's kind of coming back to me. But like, prior to this, for that reason alone, I would put Men in Black over.
It's obviously Men in Black. Like, it's another iconic thing. Like, as a kid, the reason I know what Ray-Ban sunglasses are because of those movies.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like I was 9 years old when the first one came out. 9, 10 years old. Like, and they're like, oh, Ray-Bans, and then I'm like looking at certain. Oh, I know what those are. That's what Will Smith wears. Like, and even though I know who Tommy Lee Jones was because of Batman Forever. Like, at that time, like, it showed, oh, look, the Fresh Prince did it again. Like, and this was during his hot streak of Independence Day, Bad Boys, Men in Black. Like, that's when he was Mr. July.
Yeah, he was on fire.
Like, and like hit songs, like everything.
He was on fire until Wild Wild West.
He should have picked the Matrix.
Should have picked the Matrix. Well, we got Keanu instead, which is, thank God. All right, so now we're going to take it down to Beverly Hills Cop versus the first 3 Mission Impossibles. I wrote it there as MI1 because...
So this is Mission Impossible 1, 2, and 3. So I was thinking a lot about this last night and today. So something I love, especially about these first 3, because now you take the later ones and they've turned into more of like the real kind of cool espionage, like very formulaic movies.
Yeah.
Where the first one was definitely a version, like an updated version of the TV show. And the first one, I want to say, came out in 98, 99. All right? And it was definitely like of both of the original versions of the TV show. Because I remember as a kid watching the one that came out in the 80s. Mm-hmm. And it definitely, like, the homages were there. They even tied everything into it. And then you had the second one was directed by John Woo. Completely different monster in itself.
Right.
Way cooler. Tom Cruise had the long hair.
Yeah.
You had the stop break with the motorcycles, the sunglasses. And then you got the third, which was done by J.J. Abrams. And it created like, oh, Ethan Hunt now has a family. Like he has this connection with this other agent who was killed, and Philip Seymour Hoffman is an absolute gangster as the bad guy in the movie. And they were all three different, very, very different movies, but they all fit so well together.
Yeah, see, if you were to pit the first three Mission Impossibles up against the second three, looking at it surely as a trilogy, I would put the second three over, even though the first Mission Impossible is my favorite. You know what I mean? Like,
and I would agree because that was an overarching story.
The three literally have like a very cohesive story as to where 1, 2, and 3 are all their very own different movies. You know what I mean?
But without those first three setting up those building blocks, you don't have that cohesiveness of the last three.
Right.
Because those last three are really, really products of taking those first three movies and mashing them together.
Right.
And I truly love how all three of those movies are very, very different, but they work together.
I do. You know, at first I really didn't like Mission Impossible 3, but I like it the more it goes on.
See, it's probably my favorite one.
And I like 2 lesser as time goes on.
When I was a kid, I liked 2.
The first one is still my favorite. I'm sorry, but it crushes.
I mean, 2 had Limp Bizkit doing the theme song.
Yeah, it did. It did. How do you feel? I mean, again, we're talking about the Mission Impossible 1 and 2, but it's actually up against like Beverly Hills Cop. Steve, where are you?
I'll tell you what, Beverly Hills Cop, when that came out with Eddie Murphy, he was the hottest property. And again, so you know the song?
Yeah.
Everybody does.
But it's almost like Ghostbusters on that side, because at that time, Eddie Murphy was the hottest property. He was coming off SNL. He had 2 albums that he put out that swept the country, and then he comes out with this movie that's just comedic genius, and it was probably the funniest thing I had seen up to that point in my life. The movie was completely hilarious.
Yeah, John, the heavier cop, there's like one of the scenes where like he's laughing, like that's real, and they left it in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they're like, oh, you know what, it's too good. Like even he is supposed to like be, you know, like as straight and annoyed by Axel as possible, and even he was cracking up. So it was like, they left it, and which I thought was genius.
But I mean, Murphy's coming off. He made Gumby a household name, and just rolls right into it. And
so then 2, I thought 2 was actually more action packed, which I kind of liked.
Yep.
But then 3
leaves you such a bad taste in your mouth. Like 3. Especially like when the bar is set so high with the first 2, and 3, like I felt like they just took a story, threw it together, and threw Axel Foley in it.
Yeah, they're like we have this like basic script of this cop who goes and takes out people. We'll make it Beverly Hills Cop 3.
You know, it's Die Hard and amusement park, but let's just make it Beverly Hills Cop. Like,
you know, so like in that respect to where I think 3 is a weak, like it ends on a weak link, not like, you know, that I mean, I'd be hard pressed to not put Mission Impossible over Beverly Hills.
Like as a trilogy, I feel like that Mission Impossible trilogy is a better trilogy.
Yeah.
But if I were to put Beverly Hills Cop 1 or Beverly Hills Cop 2 against different movies in that franchise, Beverly Hills Cop movies would win one-on-one, but as an overall trilogy, I would have to go Mission Impossible.
And that's because the Beverly Hills Cop trilogy goes like this.
Yes.
Like the first one was the icon.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The next one was not so much, but still good, and then it trailed off.
Right. So I'm going Mission Impossible?
I am too.
All right. So, yeah, that works. And then...
What's our last one in there?
Okay, so now we have the 3 new Star Trek movies, right? The Abrams verse ones.
Yep.
Up against the Expendables. Now, I thought the Expendables were fantastic. I thought even the idea alone for an aging action star to be like, I'm going to take all these other aging action stars and literally write us as
aging
over the hill,
aging mercenaries.
like you know, it's the only problem with any of the 3 movies is Mel Gibson in the third one when he asks when Barney's about to shoot him and he asks what about the Hague, he shouldn't have asked him what about the Hague. He should have been like, whatever, shoot me. I'm too old for this shit. You know what I mean? He should have said that.
That would have been amazing.
That's the only problem with those 3 movies, okay? And then it's up against the new Star Treks. And when I went and saw the first new Star Treks, the first one, when the opening credit Star Trek rolled, I turned to my dad and I said, I could leave now and be happy.
Yes.
That opening scene was amazing. 1 was good, 2 was good.
I like Beyond.
3,
I don't care what you say. I like Beyond.
I didn't dislike it. I just don't think it was as strong as 1 and 2. I don't think it was bad anyway. I just don't think it didn't have as much memory to it.
We actually had a whole bracket that was half Star Trek, half Star Wars a few weeks ago. So
wow.
we've in depth talked about these new Star Trek movies, and
that must have been cool.
It was awesome. You can go back, check us out on our Facebook page or on the YouTube channel.
Yeah,
and,
you go back and watch it. It's a great episode.
See how I teed that up for you?
It's a great episode.
You know, so the Expendable movies, I like them. They are very, very good. I feel like 2 was kind of the peak. 3 was a little bit too much, and they're actually coming out with a 4th one. I just saw.
Yeah,
they're like literally in production of it right now.
Yeah.
Like you literally had anybody and everybody for the most part. You have everybody like in the first one. You even get Stone Cold Steve Austin in the first one. You know, but the thing with the Expendable movies is they're good popcorn movies. Like the amount of substance to them isn't really much.
No, they're not. Yeah, but they're not designed for that.
No, they're absolutely not. And like they work great together. It all ebbs and flows well together.
Yeah.
But the Star Trek movies are cinema. It's true cinema.
They're like designed for the substance.
Acting is there, the actions like there, the stories are there, and it's even though some of it's a retelling of lore we already know, it's told in a way that is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it's a big.
It's a good trilogy. All 3 of those movies are very, very good films.
These 2 are probably the toughest so far today of pairing up against each other because they're so different.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
For me, I'd have to go Trek.
Steve, what about you? What do you think?
I'm gonna go with Trek.
Okay. That's good because I didn't.
You didn't have a vote on that.
I didn't know where to go.
This is what Garrett likes to do. Yeah. Garrett likes to sit back and be the last.
He's like, you guys do all the work.
You guys figure it out.
Yeah, there's some you can tell when I'm undecided when I pull it out of everybody else first because sometimes I don't like being the tiebreaker.
This is hard.
Although it's as hard as this one was. You look at what the next round is going to be like.
Now we're going to start.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles against Back to the Future. Okay. Back to the Future.
I'll let you guys start this off.
Friggin' amazing. Okay.
Yeah.
And especially the first. Now, in designed as a trilogy very well is it. Even if 3 is your least favorite, it's written into. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the way it's written, I mean, it's still...
I don't know what you're trying to say right now.
It's just...
You're just saying written a bunch of times.
It's just the way... I don't know. Like, the sheer design of it. It's like, okay, we're... it's... the 50s, the 80s, the 2015, and, the 80s, and then, and then the 1800s. Like, it went all over the place, and it was...
But did they go in a sewer? That's my question.
They did not.
They did not.
Are they turtles?
Were there turtles in it?
There were no turtles.
I did not see any karate.
There was a DeLorean.
There was a DeLorean, but there was a van in there, and there was a dumpster truck,
right.
And
but I mean, I was
feudal Japan.
Yes, but still, as a trilogy, I mean, Back to the Future takes this for me.
So okay, I love the Back to the Future movies.
Back to the Future takes this for me.
They're fun. They're super entertaining. Christopher Lloyd still looks like he did in '85 when these movies came out.
Somehow.
And like
the same my whole life.
And like he's always been amazing. Like from Taxi.
He's hilarious.
He's one of the creators to Modern Family.
Yeah.
Like he's
just hilarious.
He's an absolute comedic genius. And Michael J. Fox, especially coming off of Family Ties, where he's this, Ronald Reagan Republican, tight-necked, Michael P. Keaton, and then he goes and turns and does this movie.
He was doing that at the same time.
Absolutely.
To literally leave one set where you're like this straight-laced young Republican to
Mr. Wildman, absolutely.
the guitar playing, school skipping, time traveler.
But I'm going to tell you the one reason why, for me, Ninja Turtles beats out Back to the Future.
Because you have no idea what you're talking about?
Because Ninja Turtles is more family friendly. You want to know why?
How is it more family friendly than Back to the Future?
Back to the Future has incest in it.
All right, fine.
His mom tries to bang her son.
All right.
Well, it's not that straightforward. There are extenuating circumstances.
In a court of law, the mother tried to seduce.
But if you're
wait. Which court? The court from that time or modern times?
If you're going to look at that, then we're going to go over there, and Maze Runner is going to beat Star Wars, and someone's going to punch me in the face if that happens, okay?
Yeah, well, wait a minute. When we get there, we'll address that one.
Different arguments, different cases.
All right, I'm going to make you two guys. You two guys are voting on this one.
I'm picking Turtles.
I'm Back to the Future for this.
I'm Back to the Future.
Yes. Damn. Back to the Future. All right. So now.
It's Die Hard.
It's Die Hard. It's Die Hard. Okay, but we have to talk about it too as a trilogy too, because obviously Die Hard is my all-time favorite movie. I love Die.
As mine.
I love Die Hard 2.
This tattoo here is the Nakatomi Plaza symbol.
Yeah. I feel like people talk about Die Hard 2 the least.
Die Hard was our very first winner. Die Hard would have been our favorite Christmas movie if it wasn't disqualified for winning the first.
Gotcha.
round.
Yeah.
Die Hard's kind of the ace in all these four.
Die Hard 3, it takes it out of the holiday season and into the summer, but it ties back to the first one.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, how good is Jeremy Irons? I mean,
oh my god,
how great of a!
I actually just rewatched this last week.
He's so good a bad guy. He was on par with Alan Rickman. Where you liked him.
This is his,
in my opinion. I like Hans Gruber. You know what I mean? Even though he shot Joe Takagi in the face, I still like him.
Best villain role. This is Jeremy Irons' second best villain role.
Yeah, you're gonna say Scar, aren't you?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Scar is his first best villain role. But so with these three movies, the second one, I agree with you, is definitely underrated. The second one is good and it fits well. But the third one is just a smidgen below the first one for me.
Yeah.
This Samuel L. Jackson and Bruce Willis together. Is just so just the scene where they're in the taxi. Yeah. And Bruce Willis is calling him Jesus. He's like, well, Jesus. He's like, why are you calling me Jesus? He's like, the guy called you Jesus. He goes, he said, hey, Zeus. The god of lightning is sticking up your head. He's just, and this is the first movie, even though, in retrospect, Jurassic Park was probably the first movie I saw Samuel L. Jackson in.
Oh, okay.
Right.
This was the first movie I remember seeing Samuel L. Jackson.
See, the first thing I still remember seeing him in was Coming to America.
See, I didn't see that till later on.
Yeah.
And this movie, honestly, is probably more quotable than the first one. The first one has those,
I don't know about that.
No, the first one has those more iconic one-liners, where this has those exchanges, when Bruce Willis jacks the truck in the aqueduct.
Oh yeah.
When he's like, "Oh hey, have you seen the fat guy coming down?"
Yeah.
It's such a good movie. And to see John McClane, so in the first one, he's separated, right? Everything's kind of looking down, and he's trying to rekindle his marriage. The second one, him and Holly are good. He had moved out to L.A. His life is him and Al are best buds. Everything's good, and now this crazy shit happens. It's not even related to the original stuff.
Right.
Yep.
And then you're visiting him like 10 years after the first one. And now he's back in New York. He's an absolute drunk who's suspended at the time the movie begins.
Right.
They get him and he's hungover as shit.
Super hungover.
And Holly lives back in L.A. They haven't talked in forever. And he's at like the low of lows. And to have to go do this stuff. And like one thing about the Die Hard series that I've always loved is he's not that guy like, here I come to save the day. He's such a reluctant hero. He's like, well, if I don't do it, nobody's going to do it. And that's what I've always liked about John McClane. I've always liked about that. So, yeah, like Oceans, I already voted against him in the first one. So,
Right.
So, but yeah, Die Hard.
Yeah, but we're both Die Hard. So would you have gone? Were you going Die Hard there, Steve?
Not up against Oceans.
No?
You would have picked Oceans?
No. What I'm saying is I would pick Die Hard up against Oceans.
Oh, yeah.
On the Christmas episode, we both showed up wearing Christmas sweaters, and we both had different Die Hard Christmas sweaters.
Yeah.
Nice.
And didn't even talk about it. Like we just showed up and boom, Die Hard.
There you go.
So this next matchup is kind of rough.
This is rough.
So the first Scream movie won our slasher movie bracket. So Scream is a trilogy versus Ghostbusters is a trilogy. And
I don't even want to do this one.
so I feel
Why did I do this?
I feel like Scream, definitely like the first one is the best. The second one, I actually like the least out of these three. The third one I like better than the second.
It goes down the line for me. One and then two.
I thought the third one I liked how they played into like this whole thing was kind of manipulated from the start.
Right.
I really like that, and the introduction of her half brother, like Cotton Leary being killed off in the
Cotton
very
dies
opening
in the
scene.
first
Like
scene,
that was I like that instead of like the typical like.
Oh, here's some random one-off character.
Correct.
No, they literally killed Cotton.
It was
Leary.
Cotton, like
You know what I mean?
being
Yeah.
killed off in the first one, and like this trilogy is definitely one of my top 10 trilogies, without a doubt. Like,
Right.
but it ain't Ghostbusters. Like, and
That was a really long way to get there.
I tend to do that. Like, and I talked about Ghostbusters so much in the first round. Like, Ghostbusters is just it's Ghostbusters.
Right.
Like,
So it's almost unfair.
yeah, yeah.
Are you? Where do you fall on that?
Ghostbusters.
Okay. Good. Good. I don't
mean,
even need to get in on it.
It's just
Good. That's fine. I don't. As long as I don't have to make a choice between these
So,
two.
Steve, you said you haven't watched Cobra Kai yet.
No, not yet.
None of it.
None of it.
You have Netflix, correct?
I do.
You should probably put that to use
Okay.
because 4 seasons are out now, and if
You got 40 episodes, but they're half hours.
no, they're about 40 minutes.
The newest season is.
Something
The
to do
other
this
ones are
during
20
the winter.
20
But
minutes.
I'm like
20, 30,
it is
20 to 30 minutes.
such. And I love the Bad Boys movies. Like I rewatched them a million times. Cobra Kai is such a perfect sequel to these original Karate Kid movies that it makes you want to go back and rewatch the Karate Kid movies, and you'll appreciate and enjoy them more with everything they've done with Cobra Kai. And like that's actually what it's done. Like I've always loved Karate Kid.
I loved all three.
Yeah, and like they've always been something that every now and then I'll throw, I'm the best around.
Yeah.
I'll throw that on, just to listen to it, just to make me feel good. But I have to say, Cobra Kai, the series, has made me appreciate and has elevated these original movies for me.
Right.
Like to a top 5 trilogy for me. Like it just. You forget how much it's ingrained in you, like how much you think about it. Like anybody, like if I say to anybody out in the street, "Wax on," they're gonna say right back to me, "Wax off."
I was absolutely gonna go there. It's just it became ingrained in society, and
like literally, Ralph Macchio really hasn't had to do much since this. He did The Outsiders and My Cousin Vinny.
Yeah.
Yep.
And a guest spot on Entourage.
Yeah.
Like
an episode of How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah.
I swear that How I Met Your Mother had a good hand in bringing Cobra Kai to life.
Oh, I'm sure.
To life, because when Barney going off about how
Johnny Lawrence.
How Johnny Lawrence was
the hero.
Was actually the hero, and the kid, the bully from New Jersey was the wrong one, and it was like it made people look at it different. And then they literally used that same argument when he's talking to Miguel.
That was the
in
pitch.
The first season.
Yeah.
That was his pitch to him. He was just like, and then you kind of see it from his eyes, and he's like, "Yeah, I was kind of a jerk, but," and then he puts it like this, and you're like, "Holy crap!"
This guy comes from New Jersey, steals my girlfriend.
Story.
And like think about this too. Like everybody remembers Johnny Lawrence, right? Johnny Lawrence was only the first movie.
Yeah.
He had nothing to do with the other two.
Yeah, he was in the first scene of the second movie. That was it.
And the first scene, it was just footage from the original movie.
Well, no, because it was. Was it?
Yeah.
No, because it was the choke out.
Yeah, that's from the first movie.
No, it's not.
Where he chokes him out at the very end of the movie. At the very end of the first movie.
That happens at the end of the movie?
I'm almost positive.
I thought it only happened in the second one.
You mean third one?
No, it happens at the first. No, it happens at the beginning of the second one. Trust me, I'm 100% positive.
Right, but I think it's extra footage from the first one.
No, trust me. It ends. The first one ends at.
Right, but what I'm saying is it was shot during the first.
Oh, probably. I think they were all shot together, weren't they?
No.
I don't even know. I don't even know the time frame where they came out. I was so little when they actually came out.
I like the second one for you got the whole Okinawa experience.
Yeah, the second one's my personal favorite.
And the third one, and I've appreciated it as I've gotten older, like that Terry Silver character.
See, he was always my favorite bad guy.
He's an absolute psychopath.
Yeah, that's why he was my favorite. The laugh.
Oh,
you know, like the coked out laugh.
And
you know,
the ponytail, like he just.
He's great. And did you know in real life that guy is 4 months younger than Ralph Macchio?
Really?
Yeah. Look it up on IMDb. Look it up on the internet.
Oh, dude, he looks so much older than him in the show too.
Yeah,
like now.
Even on the show, like he looks like he's because when they do the start in the flashbacks in the show, like he is younger than he was. He was like 16, 17 or something like during Nam. Like he was.
How old is Kears?
Kreese. Kreese is almost. He's almost 80. I think he's in his 70s. He's in his 7. Like
that's crazy.
But he was born in the 40s, 46 or something like that.
It makes you appreciate, like, just because it adds the layers to these movies. And like honestly, if we would have done this bracket like 4 years ago before Cobra Kai came on, I might have put Bad Boys over Karate Kid, but right now, no way.
Yeah.
So this one's been decided.
By me, I'd pick Karate Kid.
I'd go Karate Kid as well.
There you go.
Karate Kid. Steve?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Star Wars. It's Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Take it there, Steve.
Star Wars.
We all know what it's going to be.
It's Star Wars. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you, Maze Runner. You're a great movie. The first one, I gotta point out too. The first Maze Runner, I could watch once a week and I'd still never get sick of it. I love the other ones. I'd be like, okay, but I could watch the first one over and over and over. It's just great.
So these next two, these both have two really strong entries and one weak entry.
Right. So for me, the weak entry in Men in Black is 2.
I agree.
And then for me, the weak entry in Terminator is 3. And I hate Terminator 3.
Okay.
I hate it. And then if you were to even replace it with Dark Fate, which is supposed to be like, James Cameron's like better, like version of 3, I would still say that's it'd still be the weaker link. It'd be a better weak link, because I don't hate Dark Fate.
So Terminator 2 is one of my top favorite movies of all time. I think it is probably, and it would be in contention against The Dark Knight, and that's a trilogy we're going to save for another time too, the Dark Knight trilogy.
Yeah, I'd probably pull off an entire trilogy of just superheroes,
or probably just Batman movies.
Yeah, absolutely.
But T2 was such a especially for the time, the special effects, the spinning of, you're literally taking the villain from the first one and making him the protagonist. Like, that T2 alone is better than all 3 Men in Black movies. And, like, the first Terminator is iconic, but T2 is there. And, like, there are parts of Rise of the Machines I enjoy.
There's certain parts of it, especially the end. I hated the end when I was younger.
Yeah, we talked about this. The ending was definitely...
The older I get, the more I think the end was insanely appropriate.
I agree.
You know what I mean? Where the end was it ended how it should have. Like, it was always going to happen. You couldn't stop it.
Right.
And, you know, he had the Terminator get himself there because that's where he needed to be.
Right.
So, personally, I still think that the first Terminator is the more superior film.
I disagree.
I understand that because everyone's like, oh, it's always T2. I'm like, just because it had more money and was flashier and had all the stuff, like, I don't think it's, for me, it's even like a plot point and just other stuff, you know, written in for the script, where I just think the first one is just one of the best movies ever made. How do you feel about this?
You know, I've never been a Terminator fan.
Okay.
Because you hate Arnold Schwarzenegger?
No, it's just not my thing. So I would probably take Men in Black in this category, just because I'm not a fan, and I know that's probably going to screw everything up.
I'm still going Terminator.
Yeah. I'd actually go Terminator as well.
I get it.
Is much. Yeah. As much, even if you're like, all right, well, both these have, you know, a sci-fi and what you call it. It's a little bit of time, you know, the time travel stuff. Okay, it's for me, it'd still be Terminator. So, okay, Lord of the Rings.
Now, I find it very, very interesting.
Over Mission Impossible.
I find it very, very interesting that you put the Star Wars trilogy and the Lord of the Rings trilogy both on the same side of the bracket.
Yeah.
Because I personally, before I saw how you did the bracket, I figured that these two would probably end up against each other.
Right. So because sometimes when I know something is definitely going to get further and further, I'll put it. I'll put them on.
You like
the
to
same
throw a
side.
wrench into the machine.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to. There's a scene in Clerks 2 where you have the character of Elias and the character of Randall going back and forth about what's the trilogy.
Right.
Where Randall's like, it's obviously Star Wars. And then you have Elias turn around and look at him and go, there's only one ring to rule them all.
Yeah.
And like that, especially in fandom, like these are the two trilogies that people are constantly arguing about.
Right.
The Lord of the Rings. I'm more of a Hobbit fan myself, not movie, like book-wise.
Right.
Like The Hobbit is one of my favorite all-time books. And let's get it out of the way now. Lord of the Rings, I'm putting over Mission Impossible as much as I love.
Lord of the Rings is going to beat out Mission Impossible. So,
what they accomplished.
Steve, I don't know if you were going to go Men in Black or.
Absolutely.
So, what they accomplished with these movies, like they truly are films in all manner of the definition of the word film. Like the way they adapted the story, the special effects, like you truly felt that these people were where in the fantasy world and that everything existed, these orcs and these hobbits, and like you felt for all the characters and everything. You felt for what they were doing. And even though they were like 3 hours each movie, like every year for my birthday, because they always came out around Christmas, my father would take me and we'd go see the Lord of the Rings movies.
Right.
And they just, what they accomplished. And it's been damn near 20 years now since they came out. And it's just.
And Stephen Colbert is still talking about them.
Yes.
They hold
At
up.
least once a week. You know what I mean? He mentions them. Like, yeah.
They still hold up as a film, so I'd have to go Lord of the Rings on this.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, especially over Mission Impossible. It's going to end up going over there. Now we have the new Trek movies versus the first 3 Matrix movies.
How do you feel about the Matrix, Steve?
I don't have a whole lot of feelings about the Matrix.
I do.
I'm looking at those two titles right now, and I'm trying to weigh it up. This one's going to be difficult.
The first Matrix movie blew my mind.
Blew my
ninth grade
mind right out of my ears.
And the analogy I can, and I think I've used this before. So the first one, you've got your shot with this really, really hot girl. And then it just putters out. Like, I enjoy the ending. Like, I kind of like how they wrapped it up. But it's the filler in between that really, really, really just... Like, the new one that came out, I feel is my second favorite Matrix movie because Reloaded and was Revolutions.
Yeah, Revolutions. Yeah.
They did nothing for me.
They have points that are amazing, parts that
they add to the lore, but
super stand out, but none of them, not even the new one, is the first one.
So, like, overall as a trilogy, and I really didn't see myself saying this, but I'd have to go Star Trek. Just the first.
Again, it's that
Steve. Yeah. I feel Steve, you're going to go the new Star Treks as well.
I would have to.
Well,
right.
Because
you can't peak with the first one, and then
you can't. Right. Yeah, you can't say you can't hold the. I mean, as a trilogy, yeah, it's Trek. Even I have to admit, but if it was the first Matrix up against these three movies,
that's different.
The first Matrix, right. But we can't look strictly looking at how these three movies go. So now we have, oh man, Die Hard versus.
Yeah, you know what? I was looking at that. I'm like, how do we?
Oh, this is easy for me. Die Hard. It's a better trilogy. None of the Die Hard movies are even considered bad. Where Back to the Future, the third one, it kind of...
The third one dips a little.
It slumped.
Steve?
I'm going to go with Die Hard.
Okay, good. You know what? I think I would have ended up tilting towards Die Hard, even though I would have felt bad.
Yep. Well, I didn't say I didn't feel bad.
But...
Now, this is interesting.
So, Karate Kid...
versus Ghostbusters.
All right, so I quit. I usually quit like once a month because I come
once an episode. You usually quit.
I don't. This is.
I'm gonna go on this one. I'm gonna go with Ghostbusters, and I'm gonna say it's primarily due to the cast. And if you're weighing the first, if you put,
I have my answer. I'm just curious to see what Garrett.
So you're gonna make me do what I normally do to you guys?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'm having you pick something. I can be the deciding factor if I need be.
No, I think it actually still has to.
It's Ghostbusters. Like, I don't even know what you're.
No, but.
Well, I just picked Ghostbusters, so it's
okay. Ghostbusters going on, but again, because a lot of people hate on Karate Kid 3, and they're like, "Oh, it's just a bad rehash of the first one," and it's like,
I'm just filling
this not technically because
I'm filling that in now.
Yeah. It's so.
In the interest of time, we're just going to move right along.
That normally starts happening.
But for in the first one, he wins the All Valley, right? So he was always, unless you're going to be bad writers, he's going to have to go back to the All Valley again. Right. You know what I mean? He's going to have to do it again. So then why not go back to the bad guy, the first one, who brings in his friend who's even crazier than him, and hires this insanely strong dude to beat the crap out of him all the time. I don't see where there is where 3 is oh, it's terrible.
I like 3.
I like it a lot. Again, 2 is still my favorite, but 3, I saw 3 was. I thought 3 was still.
Who's
really
he arguing with right now?
I'm not sure.
I'm just saying because I feel like we didn't really talk about 3. So
we talked about Terry Silver.
Yeah, a little bit. We were more talking about Cobra Kai stuff.
And Star Wars beat Terminator, guys, just to update everybody.
Yeah. And everyone else.
Yeah.
All right, so
Lord of the Rings versus Star Trek.
It's still going to be Lord of the Rings.
It has to be.
Over the new Star Trek. I mean, come on.
So
based on the fact that it's Lord of the Rings.
Right. So now,
Die Hard versus Ghostbusters, a matchup I never thought I'd have to.
why? Why? Well, whose idea was Trilogies?
Garrett.
He's fired.
So you just looking at the board, you would think that the other side of the board would be a more difficult decision,
But it's
but
not.
we ended up with Die Hard and Ghostbusters.
Right, because I think we can all say now Star Wars beats Lord of the Rings, correct?
But we're not there yet.
We're not there yet. Let's do Die Hard versus Ghostbusters
Oh, I can't.
as a trilogy. As a trilogy. I mean,
All right, so if that's the criteria,
I feel like Die Hard is more tightly knit, and that's not. You know what I mean? It's like
How do you
Ghostbusters
figure-
2 was a little weaker than Ghostbusters. I still very much enjoy it. I still very much like it. But then we literally had 32 years between the next one, and they had to go and write a specific story that made a whole lot of sense
after 32 years.
to do. And again, like no Die Hard movie made me cry. You know what I mean? But like with how good it was. But when you're looking at it strictly as, okay, 1, 2, and 3, I feel like Die Hard is more tightly knit and written. Oh, God, I don't even know. What am I?
You don't even know what you're. I think you're trying to convince yourself.
I'm trying to
Die
convince
Hard,
myself
but
here.
you don't want to make the.
Yeah.
So I'll be the one. I pick Ghostbusters.
Wow, no
All right,
pressure
Steve.
here, huh?
I'm going Ghostbusters.
I'm gonna have to go with as a trilogy. I'm going with Die Hard.
All right.
Look at where you going, Garrett?
I got to go Die Hard.
Wow.
Yep.
I
As
have
if
to.
the criteria is trilogy,
Criteria is trilogy. All right. So, are we definitive? Are we saying Star Wars over the? Do
Yes.
we want to discuss it at all, or is it, or are we just going to say it's A New Hope, Empire, and Jedi over the Lord of the Rings?
Star Wars.
It's Star Wars. Like
Okay.
it's something as much as iconic as Lord of the Rings are, and as much as I love Lord of the Rings, it does not have the impact of me as a person, as a child, as a fan, as Star Wars does. Like those 3 movies, as a kid, not knowing what they are, knowing that they were going to be on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night, convincing my mom as a 6-year-old to be like, I need to know what these are all about. And then every night staying up to watch them, the impact they had on me from the time I was that age to now, those, much like Ninja Turtles, much like Ghostbusters, like as a kid, those are ingrained.
Right.
And that's why coming out to the next one, my vote goes to Star Wars over the Die Hard trilogy.
Right. Just, I still like to point out that you said like Back to the Future loses because it had incest, and Leia kisses her brother in this. So I would just like to point that out.
But again, there's different laws in
Aren't you
different parts of the
Aren't you
galaxy.
Italian?
You know, I'm just
wait,
saying.
aren't you Italian?
Yeah.
Italians kiss. Okay? All right. Like his
Not
mom,
like that,
his
you know.
mom was trying to get in his pants.
That's a good point. Okay. Fine. Whatever.
Leia was a lady.
All right.
So Star Wars it is.
So I mean.
So you're voting Star Wars over Die Hard?
It's Star Wars.
Can the argument really be made Star Wars versus Die Hard as a trilogy? I mean, really, it can't.
I mean, I could always play devil's advocate,
Yeah.
but
So when we hit part 2, that'll be a lot more fun. I have an entire second list already made.
okay.
So we can do trilogies part 2 at literally any given time. So
Awesome.
so
That's
yeah,
the
even if you want to come back and do trilogies part 2, that'd be that.
You know what? If I can fit it into my schedule, I just might. I had a good time.
He's a very busy man.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, I can't. Yeah, it's a very busy job.
It was a lot of fun to see how it all played out, though.
And
Yeah.
that's something
The
I
second
love
one-
so much about this show is
Yeah.
because there are times where, in my mind, I have, oh, well, this movie's obviously going to beat this movie, but then we start talking about it, and like sometimes, like he's made points that I'm like, you know what, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
And
like who would think that as a trilogy, like or anything Maze Runner would beat Blade, because like Blade 1 and 2, I would still probably even watch more than like Maze Runner. But then when you look at it as a trilogy, like
it's better, yeah. No,
so yeah. But I mean, it's like, of course, it was going to be here.
And this is our first episode of 2022.
Yeah. So happy 2022, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Yep. Steve, we really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah.
Oh, man, it was fun. I appreciate the invitation.
Yeah.
And one last shout-out to our sponsors.
Yeah, we appreciate
our buddies at Dippin' Donuts.
You make everything happen. Seasonal Sports, Rockin' Horse. You guys make everything happen. You guys are the best.
Now, Garrett, I got a question for you. I haven't seen him around, have you?
Who? Z?
Yeah.
Just not since he came and crashed the show last time.
Well, I'm kind of glad he didn't.
But, I mean, I figured he was going to this time. All the trash talk. You should see, like, the text that this dude sends me. He's terrible.
What was he saying?
He's just, just trash bag person text that, that Z would normally send. Like, he's just awful.
It just, like what I don't... Now, Steve, I don't know how familiar you are with everything that happened, but Z really did some real shitty stuff. And if we weren't contractually obligated to keep working here, we probably wouldn't be doing the show out of the D right now, because we had a belt going on, and he did some foul stuff. Like, and I don't know how much longer I want to stay here. If you can find another venue for us, that'd be great.
No, get out. Out. Come on, go.
What?
Get out.
Come on. Speak of the devil.
Billy, take care of this guy.
What?
Billy, get him out of here. Come on.
Dude,
Billy, get him out of here. Billy,
Hey, see, get down. Like, what are you doing?
I'm sick of you guys. You guys want to talk shit?
Come on.
Get out of here.
What are you?
He said to tell the story out of the chair. That's all he knows.
Get out of here. That's my bodyguard right there. I don't care, man. I don't want to embarrass you in front of your guests. You got a respected figure as a guest today of the community, and you're gonna talk shit over here?
We weren't.
And first of all, you guys didn't even get the right trilogy down, because the best trilogy that ever happened was me winning this belt for the 3rd time. That's the best trilogy right here, guys. Right here. That's the best trilogy. Star Wars, yeah. Like, you got it all wrong again. Look, your viewership just went up because you were watching. My mom was the only one watching, and now there's like 14 people watching.
Hey, your mom likes watching me. What can I say, Z?
Oh, hey.
Look at this.
Can
He don't even have his
go?
levels right over here. You don't even know what he's doing over here. He has no idea what he's doing over here. Joe, you're the only reason why this show does anything. And you got this guy over here running your stuff.
Why don't you leave
the only thing
him
he's
alone?
good at is crutch words. That's it. That's all. The content, Oh, you want to go? You want to do this? Billy, get this guy out of here. You're breaking stuff. You're breaking stuff. Go. Billy, get him out of here. Billy, get him out of here.
Listen, I got you by 40 years, but I know I can take you.
Get out of here.
I'm not doing this anymore.
Beat it, punk.
That's not a...
You're ruining my stuff. Look, you broke the TV. You broke the camera over here. Jeez. God, let me fix the camera so I look good. Anyways, Movie Madness continues. You guys, you can take a shot at the title whenever you want. Whenever you guys want, you can take a shot at the title. So, hi, Steve.
How you doing?
Good. Good to see you.
You too.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year as well.
Sorry you had to deal with these clowns today. I can't even believe they actually got you. Are they paying you at least?
No.
No. Man, Movie Madness. Movie Sadness is more like it. Anyways, thank you so much for joining in and watching this. If you are on Facebook, click the share button. The champ is in the house right here. Am I ending this? Or are you guys ending this? How are we doing this? Shout out to my bodyguard, Billy the Liquor Guy, too. Check out his book on Amazon or wherever you get your books. It's a great book. You should read it. Maybe you should come on your show sometime. Maybe build up the viewership around here for you guys. You're on Fox News today?
No, I'm going in a couple of weeks.
Oh, I gotcha.
When Cyrus comes back.
Billy the Liquor Guy. He's the man. So, anyways, you guys, thank you so much for joining in today. Sorry they put you guys to sleep on this show, but they'll come back next week, Wrestle Fandom Radio. Have yourself a good day.